Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark in Cottonwood, Arizona. And customer calls me up and says, "Hey, my car don't run." And so a third party took the engine out and brought me this engine. And I think you guys can see the gaping hole that is in that top cover. This engine looks like it lost a rod on number one. So it threw a rod. Didn't run real good, I'm gonna guess. Probably made a lot of noise too. So basically I'm gonna open up the top of this engine and I'm gonna see what kind of damage is in there. I don't know how the damage occurred. It was not a sandrail. Sandrail people are notorious for blowing Corvairs up. So we're going to take the top cover off and then take a look in there and see what we got for damage. So stay tuned. Okay. We got a little bit better view of what's going on. I got the fan off. And it looks like there's chunks inside this engine. Totally blew through the top cover, totally blew through the baffle, the oil separator. So now next step, we're going to take all these things off and have the grand unveiling. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here comes the grand unveiling. So I got all the top cover bolts off, and we are gonna start tapping a little bit here and see if we can get this top cover off. I don't see any reason why it won't come off. So, yep, top cover's loose. Okay, here goes nothing. You ready? Oh, boy, that's a nice hole there, isn't it? Poke your finger right through that one. That's probably a top cover that ain't going back on a Corvair engine. So the engine is still rotating, meaning I can rotate the engine. But I'm looking at this chunk of rod here. Pretty good chunk of rod. It looks like it's still connected to a piston. So it ate the top of this boss for the cylinder to go in. All the other cylinders look like they're doing okay. They're all still there. I don't think the case is savable unless you want to do something with this damaged area here where the cylinder goes in. But the crank, toast. Rod bent. You can see the angle at which that rod is. It's actually been bent over. Moves a little bit, but it is bent over. So I'm thinking I might be able to still get heads and cylinders, but the bottom end is junk because all of what's left of that rod, all those bearings, I don't see any rod bolts. I don't see anything. It all went down into the bottom end, and the camshaft probably got pretty chewed up too. So the engine, the bottom end's DOA. No getting around it. It's just done. So I'm going to try to get what I can off the engine just as parts, and then I will begin to build another engine for this customer going in a 64 Power Glide. So there's a lot of stuff here that I'll stick on the shelf and I'll use as cores. So massive damage. Don't think you can bring that engine back. Okay, well, I pulled pan off and we'll take a look at what we got in here. So what I found is That is actually the back side, the bottom side of the rod. And the rod bolts would go here and here. That's the back side. Looks like it kind of got ironed out straight. Pretty nasty. Rod bolts go here and here. So this is the rod cap. So that's pretty nasty. These here just appear to be chunks of case. These are just more chunks of case. And if we look here, there is where these pieces came through. These pieces came through this area right here. This is the bottom of the case below the crank. Oh, look what we got here. A chunk of a rod bolt. And this is just a piece of case. You can see where all of this ground, all of these chunks just ground into the bottom of the case here. So the camshaft is compromised somehow, some way, not worth messing with. Obviously the camshaft took some pretty serious damage. I'm seeing a lifter here. It's just kind of an interesting location to be in a Corvair engine, because you normally don't see this. This is the bottom side of what I'm going to call the cam cavity. So all this stuff just got ground up, these chunks of rod, and really no sense in going any further here. The pan was still good. I didn't see any damage to the pan. Oil pickup looks like it's savable. Gonna try and get what I can out of the engine and just scrap what's left. So anyway, this is Mark for Vintage Car Care. Remember, get out, like my channel, subscribe, and comment. I would love to hear your comments as far as have you taken anything apart this nasty before. Okay, so anyway, I got what I wanted off the engine for now. The heads seem to be good. I don't see any reason why the heads won't be usable. Block's done. One of the cylinders is trash. So I pulled the end cover, pulled the pan, pulled the bell housing. I can use those things. Top cover was basically junk. And there's still, you can see the damage in there. So really I got the crane out and I'm just getting ready to chuck this thing into, I'm not going to put it in the scrap pile, although most of it is scrap, but I really just don't want to disassemble it right now. Got other things I'd rather do, and this can go on the back burner for right now. So this is Mark in Cottonwood, Arizona. Let me know if you need a rebuilt engine or if you got some technical questions about Corvairs. Got about 46 years of experience. This is Mark. Get out and enjoy your Corvair.